Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, it is a good morning, isn't it? A little early, but. Welcome to the universe. It was easier when it was just Unitarians, you know? Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Eugene. Whether you are here in person or lounging comfortably at home, it is good to be together. For those observing the solemn seasons of Ramadan or Lent, we bid you peace. My name is Augie Sabini. I use the pronouns he and him. I'm short, graying, and wearing my Sunday best. And I am this morning's worship associate. Whenever we gather in the name of love, whether that's a sharing circle, a finance meeting, or a justice gathering, we light a flaming chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And today, Ivy's going to help me with this. Even though she's brave, because she's new here. Thank you. Yeah. If you have been burned, you might be afraid of fire. If you have been betrayed or forsaken, you might be afraid of friendship. But a fire can warm you and light your way. And friends can warm you in their embrace and guide you on your way.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. My name is Jen Youngsun Rue, and I have the privilege of serving this beautiful congregation as its minister. I use the pronouns she and her, and for anyone who could use a visual description, I'm wearing all black today with a little splash of purple color on my stole. This past Friday, a couple of days ago, thousands of protesters rallied across the nation pleading for us to trust science. For years, trust in science, trust in government, trust in other institutions, and trust in one another has been declining. When trust goes down, so does our ability to work together, to achieve things together, to bridge our differences, and to find solutions to our most urgent problems. Lower levels of trust keep people in their own cliques, in their own tribes, and makes violence a viable option. Trust, of course, is an essential ingredient in all human relations, not only on the interpersonal level, but on a community level, especially as we are working to build communities of care. We, the members of this spiritual community, have made sacred promises to one another to trust others in their identity and in their truth, and to work to be trustworthy people. So what does it mean to trust others, to trust ourselves, to trust life? What does it mean to you to trust life, to trust yourself?
To know you can depend on someone or something.
That was Carolyn.
It's the land we walk on, and when that land goes away, our feet fall from underneath us. But when that land is there, we can walk.
trust the land beneath your feet. Is that what you're saying?
And we have a sense of comfort. I'm Nikki, and we have a sense of comfort.
I'm Rachel. I think trusting involves being willing to take a risk and to have faith that the person that we're taking a risk with will be able to have empathy and hold care for us.
Thank you, Rachel. I know that you have a lot of other ideas. During coffee hour, talk to each other about these ideas.
I trust it when my gut says to trust.
Can you say your name?
Oh, Joanna Alexander.
Thank you so much. That's a little taste of what we're going to be talking about a little more later. Oh. So I want to invite you now into a time of prayerful meditation. A few weeks ago, we held an interfaith prayer circle right here, and I shared at that time a prayer by a part-time barkeep called Laura Jean Truman, and she wrote this beautiful prayer that I want to share with you today. O Holy One, we are so tired. We want to do justice, but the work feels endless, and the results look so small in our exhausted hands. We want to love mercy, but our enemies are relentless, and it feels like foolishness to prioritize gentleness in this unbelievably cruel world. We want to be kind, but our anger feels insatiable. Beloved, in this never-ending wilderness, come to us and grant us grace. Grant us the courage to keep showing up to the impossible battles, trusting that our commitment to faithfulness will bring shalom. Grant us the vulnerability to risk loving our difficult and complicated neighbors, rejecting the lie that some people are made more in the image of God than others. Keep our anger from becoming meanness. Keep our sorrow from collapsing into self-pity. Keep our hearts soft, soft enough to keep breaking. Keep our outrage turned toward justice and not cruelty. Remind us that all of this, every bit of it, is for love. Amen. Every time I pray, I develop and deepen my trust. Trust in that part of me that transcends ego, trust in my relationship to a deeper truth, a more expansive reality, and trust that all will be well. All will be well. The Reverend Meg Barnhouse took those simple words attributed to Juliana of Norwich and turned them into a beautiful song. Now, I know that today, many of you sitting here in the congregation and at home joining from Zoom, I know that not everyone is able to really sing those words, all will be well, all will be well. Maybe they try to come out and they get caught right here, and they won't come out. And if that's you, I invite you to just relax, maybe close your eyes and receive this song. A few days ago, I had a really great conversation with one of you about ritual, about how, the first time you take a stone out of a basket and put it in the bowl of water, it's just a stone in a bowl of water. And maybe the first time and the first few times, it feels a little silly. And yet somehow, over time, week after week, month after month, year after year, you find deeper and deeper meaning in this simple act. As you feel called, you can come up to one of our 3 joys and sorrows tables. There's one there, there's one over here by the organ, and then there's one in that corner. I know that many of you have your own prayer and meditation practice, and so feel free to do that practice during this time. But if you're not sure what to do while you're just sitting there, I can suggest that maybe you could do the first part of the loving kindness meditation, which invites you to direct love to yourself, which is always the first step in loving others, is to love yourself. So one of the things that I really, really appreciate about you, this congregation, is that I can trust you. And I do trust you. I don't have to be at every event. I can retreat to the forest knowing that you are skillful and capable of running an event, knowing that you tell the truth when you tell me, yes, I'll be there, I'll do this thing, and knowing that your actions are always for the greater good rather than something self-serving. I trust you in that. So Lost Valley, in case you didn't know, is an eco-village and an environmental education center in Dexter, about half an hour southeast of here. And I was there last weekend for their social forestry camp. Joining me there were about 20 wonderful young adults, many of whom threw off their shirts last Saturday when the sun came out and it was so warm, the temperatures rose. That turned out to be the perfect condition for a controlled burn of their camas meadow. Many in the group were really scared. They were expressing a lot of fear and anxiety about quite a large meadow full of dry grass, about 3 feet high. So there are lots and lots of questions, and the leaders explained everything with great patience. Afterwards, after we had done the burn, we looked across a clear meadow to debrief, and what was heard in that debrief was the theme of trust over and over and over again. We trusted the process, we trusted our teachers, we trusted the land, we trusted the ancestral wisdom that was there with us. We trusted the competence and the skill of our teacher because he told us the lineage of his own learning and experience. We trusted the truth of what they were saying about the fire breaks and about how safe it really was. And we trusted that they were acting out of the utmost concern for us, not only us as the students, but also for all the living things. So there are 3 elements to trust. There is competence, truth, and benevolence. Competence, truth, benevolence. And before I go into these 3 elements, let's talk first about why building trust, especially in community, is so important right now. It is becoming increasingly obvious to many of us that the old structures are crumbling. The unilateral, linear, non-mutual power, what feminist theory calls kyriarchy, is the, did I say that wrong? I don't know. No, Kyri, kyriarchy. So that word describes a system of oppression and domination and submission. And those structures have built every single institution that we live with right now. And all of that, I believe, is cracking. So here's process theologian Bernie Loomer describing this unilateral power structure, one where the rich become richer and the poor become poorer, the strong become stronger and the weak become weaker and more dependent. And then he says, there is a price to be paid even for those with great unilateral strength, for their strength lies in impoverishing their own relationships. They must, in order to continue in this way, they must learn not to care about the suffering of others. Imagine what that does to your soul. Rather than trying to prop up those unilateral, lineal, non-mutual power structures, we are called to create something different. We are called to create something new, something based on relational power. And I believe that this is the Unitarian Universalist project. And actually, it has been our project since the very beginning. You know, in the days of British colonial rule, the Congregationalists, our religious ancestors, rejected the hierarchy of the Church of England and set up, right next to it, their own structure that followed relational power instead of this unilateral power. They set up a free church that stressed local self-governance, no outside human authority, and lay participation, no clergy. Today, many of us are thinking about the structures that will be needed as the kyriarchy collapses. We are going to need lots of interconnected circles of care. These groups, in order to be effective at all, are going to need to nurture trust. So, has anybody ever tried to do work in a group where the trust level was really low? How much can you get done in that kind of setting? It's very difficult to accomplish anything good when there's a lack of trust. So let's go a little bit deeper into these three elements of trust. The first is competence, right? For example, whenever I get a splinter, I run to my spouse and I say, here, fix it. And I turn away and I don't want to look and I don't need to know what he's doing, but I trust that he knows exactly what he's doing. So he's really good at getting out splinters. So we can trust each other based on competence and skill, right? Like, I know that you're good at this, and so I can trust you to do that thing, right? The second element is honesty. Be a person of your word. Tell the truth. Very simple, don't lie. Now, if you're honest and you are a person of your word and you do what you say you're going to do, that doesn't necessarily make you trustworthy. It makes you reliable, dependable, someone that we can count on, but there's something missing from this. there's something missing, and I think it's the most important trait in trying to build relational trust. If I want to be more trusting of myself and others and of life itself, I need to know that, that they care about my well-being, or they care about something greater. They care about the well-being of all. So this kind of benevolence is a really, really important factor. I have to trust that not only are you honest and you're dependable and you're competent, but that you really care about me, that you're looking out for me. Trust takes time. It's not static. It changes, and it's very, very fragile. Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching taught that if you trust the people, they will become trustworthy. If you trust the people, they will become trustworthy. And Adrienne Marie Brown repeats this, but she adds a little asterisk after it. Trust the people, and they will become trustworthy, but given enough time and given enough attention. Trust is so changeable. I trust my spouse today. Will I trust him for the end of my days? I don't know, right? Because I don't know what will happen. Once trust is broken, some people have described it like breaking a mirror. You can put the pieces back together, you can glue them back together, but you'll always see a seam. Maybe with enough time, the seams become a little more worn. Maybe with enough time, you start ignoring the seams and you can't see the cracks. But I think it probably takes a very, very long time. Given how fragile trust is, this calls for a consistent practice of skill building and honesty and deep, deep care for other people. In a community setting such as ours, another part of this practice is also to keep good boundaries when there are inevitably untrustworthy people among us, and that's going to happen. We've talked a lot about building trust as an essential part of building relational power, which we often think of as a human-centered activity, but there is, of course, trust to be nurtured with the divine. Trust in the spirit of life. In the forest, I found Grandmother Maple. She is tall and wide, covered in a carpet of cool green softness. And when I found her, I pressed my back into her and I wept and I wept. I cried to release all of the grief that I had been carrying. I cried for the unnecessary suffering of so many people and beings. I cried in anger and fear. And when I was done with that, I cried in beauty. I trust life. I trust that tree. I trust God. I trust music. I trust my tears. What do you trust? When everything has fallen away, what do you trust? Do not be wedded forever to fear. Those are the words of Maya Angelou, the one who wrote the words to the beautiful choral piece that we heard earlier. Do not be wedded forever to fear, yoked eternally to brutishness. No, no, lift up your hearts. Each new hour holds new chances for a new beginning. My friends, may this be so. Amen. And now let's say together the closing words as Augie extinguishes our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now, usually I would do a benediction at this point and you would all disperse, but let's do something a little different today. Benediction just means a good word. How about if we say good words to each other as the benediction, and these good words come from the song, Be the Light. That's our benediction to each other. So turn and look at each other, don't forget Zoom, and let's sing. Let's sing our benediction, Be the Light. We're going to sing this.